Imagine you're in a crowd and everyone suddenly starts running in one direction. Do you A. Stop and ask questions, or B. Run like your life depends on it because clearly someone knows something you don't? If you answered B, congrats, your prehistoric survival instincts are alive and well. It's called social herding, and it's the human version of monkey see, monkey do, but with slightly more doom-scrolling and deodorant. Back in caveman days, blindly copying the group was an excellent way to stay alive. If Thag saw a saber-toothed tiger and bolted, and you hesitated to consider your options, well, congratulations, you're now tiger lunch. Natural selection gave 2 thumbs up to just follow the crowd and don't ask questions. Fast forward to now, and that same instinct is still here, and it's still telling you to follow the group, even when the group is very clearly doing something dumb, like buying 40 rolls of toilet paper because Karen on Facebook said the world's ending. Social herding helped our ancestors avoid predators and find food. But in the modern world, it can lead to panic, misinformation, and people jumping off metaphorical or literal cliffs because everyone else is doing it. And the brain, it loves being part of the group. It releases reward chemicals for conformity. It makes you feel good about being a copycat.
Your brain is lying to you all the time. It tells you things will probably be fine. You'll probably live forever. Your metabolism will probably kick back in at 30. And that totally sketchy noise your car is making, meh, it'll probably fix itself. This delightful bug in human cognition is called optimism bias, the tendency to believe you're less likely to experience negative events than other people. You don't plan to get divorced, get sick, go broke, or step on a Lego barefoot, even though statistically, all those things are solid possibilities. But here's the kicker. This bias feels good. It's why you take risks, fall in love, start businesses, or keep living on fault lines like it probably won't happen here. On one hand, this flaw fuels human progress. We dream big because we assume the crash landing won't be that bad. But optimism bias is also why we ignore long-term threats, like climate change, or antibiotic resistance, or texting while driving because I'm a really careful texter. Basically, we're the only species that walks toward danger whistling while saying, it'll probably work out. Let's talk about something everyone has in common, but nobody wants to admit you're going to die. But don't panic. Your brain already knows that. It just doesn't want to believe it. Enter terror management theory, which sounds like a heavy metal band but is actually a real psychological framework. It says humans are the only creatures smart enough to understand their own mortality and dumb enough to spend most of their lives pretending it's not true. Think about it. If you walked around constantly aware that your body is basically a meat balloon with an expiration date, you'd never get anything done. You'd just curl up in a corner, muttering, "Why bother?" every time you had to fold laundry. So your brain does what it does best. It lies. It distracts you with busy work, makes you chase status, kids, religion, money, Instagram followers, anything that makes you feel like you matter beyond your short, squishy existence. This is why we build legacies and pyramids and NFTs. We're trying to outsmart the Reaper. But here's the twist. This death denial isn't just philosophical. It affects politics, war, relationships. Entire cultures are built around rituals and beliefs that soften the hard truth of mortality. And when that denial cracks, hello, existential crisis. Or worse, extreme behaviors to defend your beliefs. Because when death becomes real, people get weird. Your brain is basically getting you into thinking you'll live forever so you can function in a world where statistically you absolutely won't. Neat, right? Your brain has the attention span of a caffeinated squirrel. Sure, it knows the future exists, but it doesn't care. Not really. This is called temporal discounting. And it's the reason you'll stay up binge watching a show even though tomorrow you has a 7 a.m. meeting. or why you'd rather have one cookie right now instead of 5 cookies next week. And yes, this has been studied with actual cookies. The short version, your brain treats future consequences like they're happening to a different person. Some future you sucker who will definitely handle it. Right now you wants dopamine. This glitch was fine when our ancestors were trying to survive another day without being eaten. Long-term planning wasn't a huge priority when a mammoth could flatten you before breakfast. But in the modern world, this flaw creates a huge mismatch. We struggle with saving money, quitting bad habits, preparing for disasters, all because our brains are wired to prioritize now over later, even when later includes planetary extinction. In other words, your brain is like that one friend who says, let's just see what happens, and then disappears when the check comes. Number 6, the authority obedience glitch. You probably like to think you're a free thinker, a rebel, immune to peer pressure, the main character in your own psychological thriller. And yet, slap a lab coat on someone and they can convince most people to electrocute a stranger. No, seriously, that's what happened in the famous Milgram experiment in the 1960s. Participants thought they were helping with a memory study. Instead, they were told to administer what they believed were real electric shocks to another person just because an authority figure told them to. Spoiler alert, a terrifying number of people did it. This flaw, our creepy little obedience impulse, evolved because ancient humans literally depended on tribal hierarchy for survival. If the chief said, "Don't eat that mushroom," you didn't ask why. You just didn't eat the mushroom. Blind trust in authority used to be smart, but now it's the reason we follow rules that make no sense. Trust people who look important, but aren't, and let official-sounding experts lead us off metaphorical cliffs. It's how cults work. It's how bad science spreads. It's why that guy with the clipboard at the airport somehow seems more legit than your own judgment. Your brain doesn't question power. It bows to it. Not because you're weak, but because ancient survival depended on not getting exiled for sass. Number 7. The too much too fast bug. If you've ever felt overwhelmed just picking toothpaste at the store, congratulations, you've experienced cognitive overload. Humans were never meant to process 10,000 pieces of information a day. Back in the Stone Age, your choices were, should I hunt mammoth or stay home and not die? Simple, effective, life or death, but like manageable now. You're hit with endless options, flashing screens, breaking news, urgent emails, and 3 social media arguments before breakfast. Your poor brain is basically drowning in input. And guess what it does when it's overwhelmed? It shuts down. It takes shortcuts. It picks the easiest option, not the best one. That's called heuristic bias, the fancy term for I'm tired. Let's just go with whatever makes this stop. This flaw makes us susceptible to fake news, manipulation, junk decisions, and buying weird things at 3 a.m. because the ad said. Only 3 left. Basically, your brain was designed for caves, not chaos. And now it's running 200 open tabs and wondering why it's crashing all the time. Number 8, tribal brain in a global world. If you've ever felt overwhelmed just picking toothpaste at the store, congratulations. You've experienced cognitive overload. Humans were never meant to process 10,000 pieces of information a day. Back in the Stone Age, your choices were, should I hunt mammoth or stay home and not die? Simple, effective, life or death, but like manageable now. You're hit with endless options, flashing screens, breaking news, urgent emails, and 3 social media arguments before breakfast. Your poor brain is basically drowning in input. And guess what it does when it's overwhelmed? It shuts down. It takes shortcuts. It picks the easiest option, not the best one. That's called heuristic bias, the fancy term for I'm tired. Let's just go with whatever makes this stop. This flaw makes us susceptible to fake news, manipulation, junk decisions, and buying weird things at 3 a.m. because the ad said. Only 3 left? Basically, your brain was designed for caves, not chaos. And now it's running 200 open tabs and wondering why it's crashing all the time.